Welcome back, America. We're here with Senator Tom Cotton, really a great patriot. He sits on the Senate Intelligence Committee. In fact, he's the chairman, as I understand it. Senator Tom Cotton, you gave a speech on the floor the other day that was absolutely spectacular. And you said, here we go in another cycle of blaming Israel for something that Hamas has done. They're talking about now Israel purposely starving the Palestinians in Gaza when all the evidence shows it's Hamas that's doing it with the help of the UN. What do you make of this?
Mark, it's just another example of how Hamas can count on an international media and political chorus to do its dirty work for them. I don't think any decent person can see the heartbreaking images of malnourished children in Gaza and not feel badly about it. I feel that way, you do, Israelis feel that way. But there's one party to blame for any children who are malnourished in Gaza, and that's Hamas. Hamas for years has used food as a weapon. It commandeers aid, it prioritizes its own fighters, it uses it to control its own people. Yet now you have way too many people in the United States and in Europe who are buying this hook, line, and sinker, sometimes open propaganda. The New York Times, for instance, ran a heartbreaking photo of a child who was afflicted with a terrible disease and passed it off as a child who had been malnourished because of Israel's actions. Nothing could be farther from the truth. Israel has delivered hundreds of thousands of tons of supplies since the beginning of this war. Our great ambassador in Israel, Mike Huckabee, was just there last week with the president's envoy, Steve Witkoff. They saw the aid that could be delivered today if Hamas would allow it to be distributed. But Hamas's one of their chief arguments and points in the ceasefire negotiations is that only they and the Hamas-infiltrated UN organizations in Gaza should get to deliver food. No other party should be delivering food to the civilians in Gaza. And I just want to make one final point about how Israel goes above and beyond what's required of any other nation. I don't remember from my history lessons, Mark, for instance, the United States providing food aid to the Nazis in Germany during the fighting in World War II. Yet Israel is supposed to provide aid to the Nazis in Gaza that committed the October 7th atrocities. Once again, Israel is faced with a demand that it meet a standard that no other nation in the world face. And despite it all, it's still going above and beyond any reasonable expectation of what the victim of unprovoked aggression should do.
I want to underscore your point, Senator. You're saying that Israel is supposed to provide aid to the Nazis. In other words, what Israel's being demanded to do basically is provide aid to Hamas, because Hamas wants to control the process. That's what you're talking about. Israel's saying, no, we want to provide aid to the civilians there, but we can't provide it to Hamas. Hamas is shooting missiles into our country. They're killing our IDF soldiers. They're killing their own people. And what do you make of the media in our country in the West, Senator? I mean, do they have a suicide pact with these terrorists, or what is it? Are they just filled with anti-Semites? It seems to be an awful lot of that. The New York Times has been spewing the Hamas Health Ministry's data and casualty numbers. The Hamas Health Ministry is a fiction. It's Hamas. And we've had experts on this program, really tops in the world, saying that's what Hamas is saying, it's not possible. But they repeat it. CNN repeats it. The Washington Post repeats it. The European papers repeat it. And they are fueling this widespread anti-Semitism all over the world. I don't really know what we do other than use free speech to push back hard, right?
Yeah, Mark, unfortunately, it's the reality that the liberal media in America has been chock full of anti-Zionists from the very beginning, and increasingly more and more anti-Semites as the far left wing of the Democratic Party has indulged more and more into anti-Semitic actions and rhetoric since the October 7th attacks. I know what Israel is going to do. Israel is going to defend its own people, and it's going to go and take reasonable steps to get aid delivered into Gaza, sometimes at the risk of its own soldiers, again, without any obligation to do so. Israel was the victim of unprovoked aggression and atrocities on October 7th. And never in the annals of history has a nation that has been so victimized been held responsible for feeding the people of the aggressor. But Israel is going to continue to do that, and we should continue to back Israel to the hilt to fight these lies with free speech and with the basic facts, not propaganda.
When we return, Senator, I want to ask you a question about Syria. I want to ask you a question about Yemen. I want to ask you a question about Communist China, all of which slaughter and keep slaughtering other human beings, slaughtering Muslims. And how come none of this is getting the worldwide attention that we see focused on the state of Israel?
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.